Hello and welcome to Strange Solution. I'm your host Darren, and I'm playing Arkham Horror the Living Card Game in Lackey CCG. I'm currently playing as Norman Withers in The Path to Carcosa. I have thus far completed up through Echoes of the Past. Pardon me. A quick reminder, I went I did not go to the police. I went back into the house and I took the clasp, which is not listed here as an FYI. I just forgot to add it. Sorry about that. The one change I did make, I had 2 XP after some point. I forget. After the Echoes of the Past. So I took out a Guts and put in a Fearless, and I have 2 Shriveling, level 3s. Alright. Here we are in Unspeakable Oath. As a quick note, I'm starting at the Asylum Hall Western Wing. It is a 2-shot location. After you defeat a lunatic enemy at this location, draw a card. It has 0 clues. Let's go ahead and read, and then I'll do my mulligan. Agenda 1A. Locked inside. The patient wing of the asylum is far quieter and lonelier than you had expected. The hall reeks of chemicals and body odor. As soon as you're escorted inside, the doors behind you are closed and locked tight. Act 1A, and it has a shroud value of 2. Act 1A, Arkham Asylum. Aside from the few patients giving you a wide berth, there aren't any orderlies or doctors around to speak with. Looks like you'll have to find Mr. Chesterfield on your own. And it needs 3 clues per investigator to advance. We start off with a weakness, so we'll go ahead and redraw for that. I think I'll keep Renfield because I think he's pretty neat. Go ahead and discard the rest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to apologize real quick. Oh no, let's do this first. I don't know. I do get to have a card, the top card of my deck, as an asset or as a thing with 2. That can take 2 sanity. I don't know how to draw a card face down from the top of my deck. I don't see that as an option anywhere, but it's fine. I know what it is, but it's not that big of a deal, I don't guess. But that's part of the setup because probably because of somebody that I interviewed. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started here. There are a lot of bad guys in this one, so having a Shriveling out I think is going to be pretty good. We'll go ahead and put out a Shriveling. Whoops, before we do that, we've got to reveal the top part of my deck. Now we'll put out a Shriveling. And I think I'm actually going to go ahead and use action 2 to put out Renfield. I'm going to go ahead and use his ability because it's a fast action. I'll add a Doom to him to gain a... No, you know what? That means this is going to pop this turn. No, I don't want to do that actually after all. I'm going to use action 3 to move to the yard. So the Asylum Halls is connected to this Asylum Halls, the yard, and the mess hall. I just want to make sure the yard isn't connected to the mess hall. That would be nice, but it's not. Final actions move here. Yard. It is a 1 shroud location with 1 clue per investigator. says, while you're investigating the yard, it gets +1 shroud for each horror on you. If there are no clues on the yard, take 1 damage. Remember that you have incited a fight against the patient, amongst the patients, pardon me. And that is that. I played a Shriveling, I played Renfield, I went to the yard. We will draw a card. So I've got a plan, and anatomical diagrams becomes the new top card. We'll add a doom to the agenda. We'll draw an encounter card. That is a Descent into Madness. It has the keyword Surge Revelation. If you have at least 3 horror on you, lose 1 action. I have no horror, so it just has Surge. Straitjacket. Item clothing Revelation. If there's no copy of Straitjacket in your threat area, put Straitjacket into play in your threat area as an asset that takes up a body slot and 2 hand slots. Remember return each asset and those slots to your hand. This card cannot leave play except by the ability below. Double action, discard Straitjacket. That's actually okay. I don't think I have a single body or hand slot card in my deck for Norman. So you know what? I take that back. I think I have magnifying glasses, but with a 5 intellect, he probably really doesn't even need it. Okay. Let's move to the investigator phase. So I will use the free action since it's going to pop this time anyway on Renfield to gain a resource. I should have got a resource at the upkeep, which I did not do because I should have 2. So we will be a 5 versus a 1. Chaos Bag is -2, that's a pass. And we'll use 2 more actions to move down to the mess hall. It'll be the end of my turn. The mess hall is a 2-shroud location with 2 clues per investigator. Forced after you successfully investigate the mess hall, choose and discard 1 card from your hand. Did I say it has a shroud value of 2 and gets 2 clues per investigator? I don't remember. And it has a victory value of 1. Enemy phase, there are currently no enemies. We will draw a card, which will be the anatomical diagrams, and shortcut goes to my hand, or goes to the top of my deck. We'll add a doom. That makes the doom threshold, so we'll move all doom in play. Oops, I'm not ready now. Oops. And we will draw. And did I not gain a resource again? I'm going to draw an encounter card. As a Straitjacket, is item clothing. Revelation, if there is no copy of Straitjacket in your threat area, there is. So that is kind of a whip. So that is fine with me. Whoops, you know what? I did not read all of this. Let me put that back because that could potentially be something different. It says shuffle is the patient. Speaking with the patients is proving more difficult than you had assumed. They eye you cautiously and refuse to answer any of your questions, backing away or fleeing if confronted. Either they're not used to guests or something about you is causing them a considerable amount of distress. Some act like animals backed into a corner, and you think that at any moment they might strike. Shuffle the encounter discard pile and each of the set-aside lunatic enemies into the encounter deck. The lead investigator must randomly choose an enemy from amongst the set-aside monster enemies and place it beneath the act deck without looking. So this gets put in here. I believe that's the aside. Yep, so that's this mess here. Shuffle. Agenda. Oh, hold up. Let's do this part too. So what I will do is I'm going to draw a face down encounter 2, and I'm going to just put it here, kind of keep it out of the way. And now let's go to Agenda 2A. Agenda 2A, Torturous Descent. The longer you spend in this hellish place, the more you want to leave. Already it has felt like days. You fear that you are stuck here If you are stuck here much longer, you will become, like the patients, a husk of your former self, unruly and dangerous. Now we will draw our encounter card, which is Ooze and Filth. It is a hazard. Revelation put Ooze and Filth into play next to the agenda deck. Each location gets +1 shroud. At the end of the round, discard Ooze and Filth. So that is going to make the mess hall a shroud of 3. I'm going to go ahead and use Renfield's ability to gain a resource. And we will investigate at a 5 to 3. Chaos Bag. That is a cultist. The cultist is the amount of horror on you minus the amount of horror on you, which is 0. So that is a 0. That gets me a clue. And we have to discard a card. I think I'm going to discard an emergency cache. Action 2, we will do it again. Shuffle does the same thing. Another cultist. I'm not going to necessarily complain against that. And I think I'll discard an Inquiring Mind. As 2 actions, I now have 3 clues, which suffices this. I have 1 action left. I'm going to mark that just so I don't forget. This would not have helped with that. Key to the basement. Turning a corner, you nearly bump into a nurse with light brown hair and sharp features. You tell her about the violent patients and the strange things you've seen, but she doesn't listen. When you inquire about Daniel, she informs you that he is a patient of Dr. Mintz and that he resides in the secured basement level. Unfortunately, she refuses to let you into that area of the asylum. We have to choose one of these tests. I'm going to choose any investigator test, intellect of 4, to persuade her to give you the keys. And if I'm successful, I get to advance to Act 2A. The only problem here is that I don't have a way to bump this. I'm a 5 to 4. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and discard, and I've got a plan to be 6 to 4. Ooh, that's a fail. Okay. Do I have any chance of either one of these? I'm gonna fail any of the other of these that I would even try. So I'm gonna just knock her over and grab the keys. Remember that I took the keys by force and advanced to Act 2A. I'll be honest, that's the first time. Oh, you know what? This is the really bad ones. This is the version 1. Based on my setup notes, I forgot to remove the other from the game. Sorry about that. But I did that real quick right now. Act 2A, the really bad ones, version 1. Daniel is somewhere in the secured basement where most dangerous patients are kept. Now that you have the key, you can explore this area of the asylum. Ignore the text on the unrevealed side of Arkham Asylum locations. Objective, find the patient confinement location with Daniel Chesterfield. You'll be instructed when to advance. Okay. Oh, I haven't entered the end of the round yet. I'm going to go ahead and use my ability. Now, I'm normally not a big fan of using this off the top of the deck, but since I'm pretty close to the end of the round anyway, I'm going to go ahead and shortcut into the kitchen. The kitchen is normally locked, but now I can ignore the text on the unrevealed side. So I will reveal it and add some clues. I'll go ahead and put this into my discard pile. Kitchen is a 2-shroud location with 1 clue per investigator. Currently it is a 3 because of Ooze and Filth. It has the action if there are no clues on the kitchen. Oh no, I did not do that while I was there. I'll just stop back by on my way back by. It's fine. If there are no clues in the kitchen, test willpower or willpower of 2. If you succeed, remember that you have set fire in the kitchen. I'll use my last action to investigate. So this would be a 4, 5 to 2. Or pardon me, no, I got it. So it's 5 to 3. I'm sorry, I don't know what I was thinking for a minute. So that's a -3. That's a fail. That's my last action. Enemy phase, upkeep phase, I will draw a card. Ooh, that might actually be helpful for later. And gain a resource. This gets discarded. Out of Doom, we are at 2 out of 7. And draw an encounter card. That is a young psychopath. The humanoid lunatic has a combat of 2. Health of 2, agility of 3. Forced, after young psychopath engages you, you must either take 1 horror, or young psychopath gets +3 fight until the end of the phase. So I will go ahead and take that. So it'd be a 5. I'm going to be a 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, and I can commit that. I'm not going to take the horror, actually. I'm just going to go with it as that. So we will come to the investigator phase. I'm going to go ahead and use fast action, David Renfield, to gain a resource. And we will fight this young psychopath using Shriveling level 3. It gives me a +2 willpower. So I'm at a 4, 5, 6, 7 to 5. I will commit a Eureka to make myself 8 to 5. Now hold up, I could use anatomical diagrams to make it a little easier. No, I think I'm going to hold on to that. That's a -0 still. So that's successful, takes 2 damage, goes away. I get to look at the top 3 cards of my deck. Nope, I did that wrong again. Let's see. I think I'm going to take anatomical diagrams. Top part of my deck is a mom. It gets discarded. And we will, second action, we will investigate at a 5 to 2, Chaos Bag. That's a 0. Final action, we will use the action here in the kitchen. We will test willpower of 2. If we succeed, remember that we set a fire in the kitchen. Be a 4, 5 to 2, Chaos Bag. It's a -0 still. I'm going to just put a little horror there just so that I can remember. So I'm not like, what have I done? And that ends that. Upkeep phase. We will draw that mom. We get a logical reasoning. It's not a terror, is it? Gain a resource. Add a Doom. We're at 3 out of 7. We will draw an encounter card. Walls closing in. Test willpower X, where X is the shroud value of your location, which is currently 2. Yep. If you fail, you must either take 1 horror for each point you fail by, or randomly choose 1 enemy from among the set-aside monster enemies and place it beneath the act deck without looking at it. So this will be a 4, 5 to 2 Chaos Bag. What do you have to say about that? So that puts me at a 1. Oh wait, I'm going to just take the one horror and just put that on myself. Thus far, it hasn't been that big of a deal. I'm going to just use 3 actions to move back to the yard. I made a mistake earlier. I hope that mistake doesn't come back to bite me in the butt. Upkeep phase. Draw a card, gain a resource. Add a doom. And draw an encounter card. That is a Maniac. Maniac is a 3 combat, 4 health, 1 agility. It has forced after a Maniac engages you, take 1 damage and deal 1 damage to Maniac. You'll gain, I'll put the damage on Renfield. Now, this guy is a pain because he has a weird amount of health. So I think what I'm going to do is something that's going to seem odd. First, I'm going to use the fast action on Renfield to gain a resource. Then, I'm going to fast action anatomical diagrams to give him -2 fight and -2 evade. So now he has a 1 combat, 0 evade. Then I'm going to try to evade him at a 1 to 0. So action 1, evade. That's -2. You can't go below the test value, so it's 0 to 0, so that's a success. I'm going to discard this. It probably isn't going to matter. I'm going to take this 1 damage. I'm going to just take that to the face. 4. You know, I think Renfield has potentially done his job at this point. I'm actually going to put it on Renfield and say goodbye to him. I kind of want that Doom gone. And then I'm going to use an action to, my final action, to go back to the Western Wing. You know what? I'm sort of tempted to go here. Because I can do that. You know what? Let me put a horror here so I don't forget. In case I know. Could go here and do the thing here. That's an agility test, though. I do have a mom. Sorry, now I'm really thinking about what to do here. Because when I come back, he'll re-engage me. I'll take a damage, and he'll take a damage, which will put him at 2, which puts him in the range for shriveling. And I can then shrivel him. So yeah, I think final action, I will go to the garden. The garden is a 3-shroud location with 1 clue per investigator. It has the action if there are no clues on the garden. Test agility of 2. If you succeed, remember that you have distracted the guards. Come to the enemy phase. There are currently no readied enemies. Come to the upkeep phase. The Maniac will ready. We'll draw a card as a Storm of Spirits. Gain a resource. We'll add a Doom. And draw an encounter card, which is a Mad Patient. He spawns at the nearest Asylum halls, which will be the Western Wing. He has the prey, most remaining sanity. That doesn't really matter. Forced, when you attack Mad Patient, you take a horror. Right. I think I'm ready to save an action here. I have 3 actions. I'm going to... it's a 3. It's easy enough. No, I think I'm going to save an action. I'm going to Working a Hunch. Whoops. Gain a clue. Gain that clue. And then I'm going to play Fast Action, Mind Over Matter. That's 2 fast actions thus far, so I still have 3. And now I get to use my intellect for agility. So this would be a 5 to 3. Chaos bag. That is a skull, which is a -1. That is very much a pass. Second action, we will move to the yard. The maniac will engage us. We will take a damage, and he will take a damage. And then we will use third action. We will use shriveling to be a 4, 5, 6 to 3. Do I want to? You know what? I think I'll toss the anatomical diagrams, making it 8 to 3. I just kind of want to be a little safe here because I definitely need to get rid of this guy. That's a -1. He's defeated. He takes 2 damage, and he is defeated. That's the end of my turn. I know that goes to the end of the round, but we will draw a card, which is a split the angle, gain a resource. We will add a Doom to the agenda, making it 5 out of 7, and draw an encounter card, which is Straitjacket. This time it does whiff. That is fine. I like when things whiff. Alright, let's go to Investigator phase. We will... What is this? Combat 2. Okay, that's fine. We'll move to the Asylum halls. This mad patient will engage with us. Have I missed taking some horror from shriveling? I don't remember if I accidentally forgot to take some horror from shriveling. I'm not going to go back and re-record for that because I don't remember and I didn't want to use up a lot of your guys' time watching that. So anyway, action 1, I have moved. I will use action 2 to fight. I do take a horror here because I am attacking a mad patient. It doesn't matter if you're successful or not, you take it. So I'm a 4, 5, 6 to 2. I kind of want to make sure I kill this mad patient. No, we're just going to go ahead and take it 6 to 2. Chaos bag, that's a -1, that's a pass. Anyway, he takes 2 damage. He gets discarded. I will use the reaction from the Asylum halls to draw a card. Can't even play that because I can't put anything out. That takes up that slot. And final action, I will go to the Eastern Wing. I just need this to not be the one that does some damage to me. Asylum halls, Eastern Patient Wing, 2 Shroud, 1 Clue per investigator forced. At the end of your turn, or pardon me, after you end your turn at this location, take 1 horror and gain 2 resources. I will end my turn here, so I do take a horror. I'm at 3 and gain 2 resources. Okay. We will draw a card, which will be the... Whoops! Magnifying glass. Gain a resource. Add a Doom to the agenda. And draw an encounter card, which is a Corrosion. Corrosion is discard item assets from play and or from your hand with a total printed resource cost of X, where X is the shroud value of your location. If no cards are discarded by this effect, Corrosion gains Surge. My shroud value is 2. I think the only item that I have, though, is a Magnifying Glass. So it gets discarded. I know that doesn't make the 2, but this says if no cards. It doesn't say, it says nothing about having to meet that X value, so I'm assuming that just gets, that counts. Somebody knows better than I, let me know. I don't exactly want to end my turn here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my first action. I'm going to go ahead and play Milan for 3. Spell myself up a resource. Question is do I investigate here? That's what I'm trying to determine. I'd like to have enough clues to spend to get into these asylum locations that I'm about to put out somewhere. I'm going to try and move these up just a smidge. Yep, I'm going to go ahead and investigate. So I'm a 5, 6 to 2. That's the auto fail. Yep, I think I'm going to go ahead and move because I don't want to be stuck here taking horror all day. Because in the last action to the basement hall. It's normally locked, but I have cleared that. From this. Basement hall is a 4-shroud location with 1 clue per investigator. After the basement hall is revealed, put the 4 set-aside patient confinement locations into play, and it has a victory value of 1. I'm going to give these a quick shuffle, and then I'm just going to put them out. 1, 2, 3, 4. They all say, as an additional action to enter patient confinement, you must spend a clue. They are Arkham Asylum locations, and normally that says you have to ignore that. There has been basically something put out that says that, no, you still have to spend the clue. Alright, that's the end of my turn. Upkeep phase, I'll draw a card. And gain a resource. We will add a doom to the agenda which meets the doom threshold, so we will flip it. The yellow sign. In the back of your mind, a force beckons. Have you seen it? It calls to you. Glimpsing something in your peripheral vision, you turn and find a familiar symbol peering back at you wherever you look. It is etched upon the doors, drawn on the walls, painted on patient canvases. You cannot escape it. The lead investigator must randomly choose an enemy from among the set-aside monster enemies and shuffle it into the encounter deck without looking at it. We'll do that real quick. Place down encounter 2, put it into the encounter deck. Make sure that. And then Constance Dumaine is actually dead, I believe. I interviewed her and killed her. Let's look at my campaign log. Yes, she's dead. So she does not spawn at the garden, which is very helpful. I think they missed a great opportunity here to say, fly, you fools. His domain, Act 3A, flee. Flee while you still can. Forced. When you would place an enemy beneath the act deck, shuffle that enemy into the encounter deck instead. I don't remember shuffling this, so I'll give it a quick shuffle. And we will draw an encounter card. It is Walls Closing In. Test willpower of X, where X is the shroud value of your location. If you fail, you must either take a horror for each point you failed by, or randomly choose one enemy from among the set-aside monster enemies and place it beneath the act deck without looking at it. So this will be a 4 to 4 Gonna go ahead and commit Fearless, making me a 6-4. I'm actually gonna go ahead and commit my Split the Angle, making myself 8-4, because I kind of like to heal a little bit here. Chaos Bag is a -2. That makes me 6-4. Fearless says, so I succeed by 2 or more, so I heal 2 horror. That is nice. That's kind of what I wanted to do. That's why I did that. Alright. Fearless can get discarded. This gets discarded. This gets put back in the chaos bag. Alright, so we will kind of want this victory point, but I think I'm going to hold off. I think I'm going to use my first action to go to this patient confinement. That takes a clue. Patient confinement, Daniel cell is a 2-shroud location with 1 clue. After patient confinement is revealed, advance to Act 2B. Three geese in a flock. I'm going to mark on my deck that I have, or my card, that I have 2 actions left, so I don't have to remember. When you enter his cell, you find Daniel huddled in a corner of the room, sobbing and rocking back and forth on the ground. No mask! No mask! He stammers over and over. You help him to his feet and try to console him, telling him that he is not crazy. The strange events have been occurring throughout town ever since the King in Yellow returned to Arkham. It's Nigel, he exclaims, gripping you tightly. Nigel made us speak his name. He made us speak the oath. And now he lives inside us, controlling us. Don't you understand? He rambles on. We spoke his name and the price was paid. Hester, Hester, O King! You believe you might understand more about the situation if you can calm him down. But you'll have to get him out of this asylum if you're to accomplish that. Choose an investigator at patient confinement, Daniel cell, to put the set-aside Daniel Chesterfield card, asset side face up, into play under that investigator's control. Shuffle the encounter discard pile on each enemy beneath the act deck into the encounter deck. So, let's do that. We'll put the... Where is he? Oh, there he is. He does take up the asset slot, so bye-bye, Christopher. Daniel Chesterfield has a quick note. Can take 1 damage and 3 horror. He has the fast action Exhaust Daniel Chesterfield. Give control of him to another investigator at your location, which I won't be able to do. Forced, when you take horror, if at least one of that horror is not assigned to Daniel Chesterfield, you take a damage. Force, if Daniel Chesterfield leaves play, remove him from the game. What was I going to do here? Oh, I have to do the encounter and discard pile. And this 1 monster. Shuffle in here. Right, I have 2 actions left. Oh, hold up. I need to get the other act out. Planning the escape. With or without Daniel, you have to get out of this place as soon as you can. Ignore the text on the unrevealed side of Arkham Asylum locations. Objective: if investigators have performed 4 of the following, you must advance. And I'm not going to read all those. Suffice it to say that I have done 3 of them. So I'm going to use 2 actions, 1 to go here, and then 1 to go here. That does cost me a clue. Patient confinement, occupied cell is a 5-shroud location with 1 clue. It has the action test combat of 2 to release the patient from his bonds. If you succeed, he howls like a wolf and tears through the basement. Remember that you have released a dangerous patient. Well, combat is not my strength. I don't have a mom, so that's going to be difficult. So I may have to get this clue now. All right, enemy phase. There are currently no ready enemies. We will upkeep phase. We'll draw a card. We'll gain a resource. We will add a doom to the agenda, and we will draw an encounter card, which is an Asylum Gorger. Woo! There's a 4 combat, 5 health, 4 agility. He spawns in the basement hall. He has the hunter keyword, the cannot make attacks of opportunity, and cannot attack during the same phase it moved from its hunter keyword. Well, that could be helpful. I'm going to go for this. I'm going to put, because you don't have to remove all the clues, you just have to do this test. So I'm a 2/2. I'm going to commit a Storm of Spirits and an Anatomical Diagrams. Those both have this, so that gives me 4/2. Come on, Castback, be nice this one time. That's the +1. Huzzah! So that was first action. I'm going to go ahead and mark this real quick. Put this here. Alright. So we've done 4 of those, so we must advance. A way out. An orderly scream echoes across the hall. Within moments, an alarm rings loudly throughout the institution. Nurses and guards rush through the asylum in desperate attempt to control the situation. You feel dazed, and your vision is spotty, as though you've been struck by something heavy. The walls blur together and twist. Creatures begin to emerge out of crevices and corners that did not exist moments before. Shuffle the encounter discard pile and each enemy beneath the act deck into the encounter deck. And then it says if at least 3 monster enemies were shuffled into the encounter deck by this effect. I don't have to do that because I know none were shuffled. And I don't even do anything from the encounter discard pile because there were none. Alright, so we come to the final act. No Asylum. All hell has broken loose. Ignore the text on unrevealed side of Arkham Asylum location. The garden gains action. If there is no ready enemy at the garden, resign. Finally, a way out. Objective: if each undefeated investigator has resigned, advance. So we will come back to my hand. I will use my next action to play an Astral Travel. Now here's the key. I just need this. How does his hand read? Once per round, you may play. Okay. I'm going to assume that if I get one of the crazy symbols here, I cannot use it to discard Rosary. Oh, because it also says control, so that's very true. Yeah, I think I'm going to just do it. Alright, Chaos Bag. We lose Chesterfield, we lose him. Right, he gets removed from the game. We're going to move to Garden. Astral Travel says it is a move action, so that took 1 action. I still have 1 left. Move to any revealed location and reveal a random token from the cast bag. If you reveal one of the crazy symbols, you must discard an item or ally asset you control if you cannot take 1 damage. So I'm just going to remove Daniel from the game. I mean, I think that's the best option at this point. I do not want to have to go through all this to get there. And I will use my last action to resign. If you took the keys by force, As you attempt to escape, you are spotted by the nurse you attacked earlier, leading a group of guards. There they are. Quickly restrain him. Read Resolution 2. I have actually never done this. So I'm going to do something that I very seldom do. And read. So we resign. Resolution 2. One. Victory display, right? You're confronted by a number of orderlies and security guards who bar your escape. Feeling cornered and trapped, you have no choice but to fight your way through them. As you struggle to escape, several of the patients nearby see their opportunity and attack the guards with a crazed fury. Nurse Heather shrieks and retreats, and in the ruckus you are able to escape, bruised and battered, but free once more. It will take some time for your wounds to heal, but you have no time for that yet. And then we'll add 2 tablet tokens, remove the 2 cultists, and add 2 tablet tokens to the chaos bag. Interlude 2, Lost Soul. I'll go ahead and read this. You decide to lay low for some time in Ma's boarding house, unsure whether news of the events at the asylum will get out to the general public. You take this time to make extensive notes of the events you've experienced thus far, including the brief dialogue between you and Daniel. He spoke of the King in Yellow as if it were an actual being, and even named it Hastur. He rambled and muttered and screeched other phrases as well. You doubt you'll ever forget them. He made us speak the oath. The price was paid. They're opening the path to Carcosa. On the 3rd night, you return to your room to find the door broken open. You enter cautiously, wondering if the police are onto you, or worse, the stranger. You are surprised to find the body of Daniel Chesterfield instead lying on the ground with a pained, wide-eyed expression on his face. He is dead. His eyes are bloodshot and yellow, and he clutches a copy of The King in Yellow in his stiff hands. You pry the playbook from his deathly grasp and examine it. Daniel has scribbled notes in the margin of each page, mostly incomprehensible, but with a few lucid standouts. The first time the fictional city of Carcosa is mentioned, scrawled next to it, Daniel has written, Carcosa is real. Do not let them open the path. When Castaldia speaks of the tattered king, Daniel has written, Hastur is the king in tatters, locked in his prison in the stars. Seal him away and stop this madness. Your mind swims with questions. How did he escape the asylum? How did he die? And why does he appear human to your eyes now? With little time to spare, you clean the room for your belongings and flee. Daniel's words, which he begged you to heed, play out in your mind over and over again. Possession? Oaths? There must be another explanation for all this. Ignore the warning. You must heed Daniel's warning. You must not speak the name of the King in Yellow. Heed his warning. So, I'm thinking of Norman here a little bit. Again, he's starting to leave logic behind and lean more towards mysticism. So I think he would actually heed the warning. For hours you struggle with this insight into the King in Yellow. What is true? What is true? What is real? Only you can sort through this madness. For the remainder of the game, anytime an investigator speaks the name of Hastur aloud during a scenario, or during the setup of a scenario, that investigator must immediately take 1 horror. And now we move on to the Phantom of Truth. So yeah, that was fun. Hopefully I didn't make any too big mistakes. I might have forgotten a horror from this, but I would have put it on the on this anyway. So that's ultimately fine, I think. I didn't even end up using this. I did have 3 horror on me at one point that I didn't use this for, but that's fine. I wasn't getting horror for a long time. I did kind of accumulate a lot when I was in this area for a bit. Making the mistake of not taking this action while I was here didn't affect me too much, so that's a thing. Anyway, if you didn't notice I made a mistake, go ahead and put it in the comments below. If you like what you see, of course, like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, you can find me around most of the places as Jacques Steampunk. And of course, as always, thanks for watching, and have a great day.